Welcome back to another episode of the Women's Health Community Podcast. Today is a first because I am mixing business and family. So that has never happened in my 5 years of running my own business. So introducing to you all my cousin, Nicole. Thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So I start every podcast with 4 questions. So what is one non-negotiable in your day every single day?
Well, I'm like you, coffee.
Coffee.
Yes.
It must be a family trait.
It's the first thing I do every morning, which is really bad. Really
I've been
bad.
trying to do like at least like a glass of water beforehand, but then sometimes I'm just like, doesn't hit the same. No. What did you want to be when you were growing up?
I wanted to be a fashion designer, but that got very quickly shot down in flames when I started studying fashion at school.
Okay.
And you pretty much get told unless you've got like it, you're not going to make it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't think I've got it.
I don't have it.
I don't have it.
Yeah.
So then it changed to I wanted to be a backup dancer for a celebrity.
Hey, we practiced a lot as kids.
Yeah, we did. And then as I got a bit older, midwife.
Okay.
But
didn't happen.
Didn't happen.
Yeah.
I just,
Didn't do that.
Yeah.
What is your death row meal?
Roast beef with...
That is so boring.
No, wait.
Okay.
With like all the roast veggies and gravy
Okay.
and then a pavlova.
Okay. Your mum's pavlova.
A creme brulee. Yeah, my mum's. A creme brulee and a panna cotta.
Oh, so you're more of a sweet person. So you would have
I'm actually not, but...
if it's your last meal, you're going all out.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, and then what is one exciting thing that's happening for you this year?
We're moving house. That's pretty exciting.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't think you knew that.
No, I didn't know that.
We're moving next week.
Oh, okay. Wow. No, I didn't know that.
Just closer to where we work and also a bigger house.
So closer to me.
And yes, and it's got more storage, which I'm like, that's what it's all about.
That's
for me.
adulthood.
Mm-hmm.
My first apartment had no storage. Now we've got like a little bit. Now I need more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then other than that, I think just coming to the end of my medical journey, for lack of a better word, so that'll all wrap up this year, which is really exciting too.
So for those who don't know, like you mentioned, you're wrapping up your medical journey hopefully this year, or it is going to be this year.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about what your 2024 looked like, what were some of the things that you were going through, and what was your overall diagnosis and all of that sort of stuff. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to step it back a bit because actually my journey started in 2021. Yeah. So late 2021, September, I found a lump in my breast, and it was by accident. I wasn't looking. I wasn't doing a self-examination. I was literally in bed, had my arm like kind of had my hand under my arm, and just moved a certain way and went, oh, what was that?
Yeah.
So then I laid down, had a feel around, and I was like, that I don't think that's meant to be there. So I went straight to the doctor like 2 days later, got all the tests done, got diagnosed with breast cancer. So at that time, because I caught it really early and because of the type of cancer it was, I had the option to do a particular targeted therapy plus chemo or just do the targeted therapy on its own, which also had the difference in like statistics between those two, doing them either with the chemo or without, was 5%. Okay. So I was like, okay, I'd rather risk the 5%, not do chemo, and see how it goes. Yeah. So it went well. It handled the cancer, did all the tests at the end of it. That went for a year. Then about a year later, I got breast cancer again.
In a different spot?
No, exact same spot.
Wow. By chance? Is that like a common thing to happen, or is that just like they were kind of shocked by it?
No, I guess, I mean, it can happen both ways, but I think it was better that it was in the same spot because that meant that it's just localized still in the same area. Yep. So at that time, I was researching a lot of more alternative therapies.
Option A didn't work. Like, let's try something else.
Yeah. And I was still shit scared of chemo. Yep. Like, I was terrified of chemo. So I got it cut out, and I thought, I'm just going to try all these alternative things and see if I can just handle it. And it seemed like I did. Like it seemed to be going well. Even my surgeon and my doctors were like, okay, let's just keep going with this. Like, looks good. I did regular checkups with all my doctors and everything. And then that lasted quite a bit. And then when was it? It was August last year. There was no lump, no symptoms, nothing. I was overdue for my 6-month checks. And I thought, I should probably go because I don't want to like stretch it out too far. And I went and had an ultrasound and they're like, yeah, something doesn't look right. So then got further tests and I didn't have any mass, like it was no like actual tumor or anything. It was just some cancer cells in my underarm.
Okay.
So what that then showed was there was potentially some cells still floating around in the breast that had then shifted to the underarm. So now instead of being stage 1, I was stage 3.
Wow.
And for anyone who doesn't know, there's 4 stages of cancer. There's actually 5. There's stage 0, which is like pre-cancer.
Yep.
Stage 1 is very small and local, which both times previous to this time were stage 1.
Yep.
Stage 2 is when it grows and it starts invading some of the tissue in the area. Stage 3 is when it travels, but not like completely far away from the initial site. And stage 4 is when it has metastasized, so it's gone somewhere else in the body, and that's very hard usually to treat. So yeah, it was a stage 3, so I was like, fuck.
Literally the one thing you didn't want.
Yeah. And while I was getting all the tests done, I'd already sort of come to the conclusion for myself that if it came back as cancer again, I would have to do everything, like medically, naturally, like everything, including chemo, surgery, everything. So yeah, it got confirmed as cancer, and I think within a month, I can't remember exactly how long, but yeah, very soon after I was starting on chemo.
I feel like it was really soon after. Like the timeline was so quick because our grandmother passed away in August, early August. And then I remember when we did her 30 days, you had already started your chemo. So like it was all happening so fast.
Yeah.
So when they told you that it had gone to stage 3, did they say like, this is the only option that you have now to do it? Or did they say you could do option A or option B and you just knew that it was time for you to do all the ones that you had not avoiding, but didn't want to really be doing?
My doctors are really good. They're very accommodating to, you know, looking at all the different avenues.
Options, yep.
But yeah, they did definitely recommend chemo, surgery, and possibly radiation, which then I chose later that I was going to do that. So I've only just recently finished that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what was it like when you were starting chemo? I mean, I obviously followed along on your Instagram. You were actually sharing quite a lot of it, which as someone who I personally we've never really had family who have gone through anything like that. I mean, if we did, it was well before we were around or aware. So to actually be able to follow that along with you and be a part of that was really like, I don't want to say confronting because it wasn't my experience, but it was just really eye-opening that there's this whole other thing that many people don't see, and it's not just you get diagnosed, you get a surgery and it's done. Like you were doing chemo every
3 weeks.
Every 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And you had to do how many rounds?
6.
Yeah.
So it went over, it was about 4 months every 3 weeks.
And you finished just before Christmas?
Yes, 3rd of December.
Which was the big goal.
Yes.
So
I didn't want it to get delayed because then it would mean I'd get like straight before Christmas, and really didn't want that.
So what was it like when you were doing your first ever round of chemo? What was that like?
It's such a an unknown. Like no one really talks about it. And just to go back on what you're saying about my Instagram page, like before I started, I was looking all over Instagram and the internet for stories and real, you know, how was chemo for you kind of things. And it was really hard to get that information. So that's one of the reasons.
Didn't find many people.
No.
Wow.
And when I did, it was very limited. Like, or they'd post like one round and then wouldn't post for the rest of their chemo journey.
So you posted all 6 rounds pretty much. I remember.
I did, and I listed all the side effects. Like I tried to give as much information as I possibly could because that's what I felt I needed. And I couldn't find it. So I was like, I want to create a page where anyone can go to, and I've got all my highlights on there, which with all different subjects. Like you can go on there and just
know what's happening.
and see. So yeah, anyway, starting chemo, because you don't know. I didn't know whether it was going to feel weird going in at the time that it's getting
happening.
When you're on the IV. Anyway, it went fine. Like, didn't feel anything. You just sit there with a catheter in your arm, and it was fine. And then it wasn't until like 3 to 5 days afterwards that I was like, oh,
I'm feeling something now. Yeah.
And I think that's because for the first few days you're on steroids. So that helps counteract a lot of the side effects. And it also helps to prevent an allergic reaction to the chemo itself. So I think that sort of keeps at bay all the nasty side effects, and then they hit when you stop the steroids.
Yeah. So some of the things that I found really interesting, or like was not questioning during your chemo, was that you had to wear the ice cap.
Yes.
And that looked painful.
It wasn't so painful at first because I think, as you know, we've got really thick hair.
Yeah.
My hair was kind of insulating the ice from my scalp.
So it was literally picture, like, for those who've never seen it, because I had never seen it until you posted. It's like a swim cap.
Yeah.
That is frozen.
It's full of this freezable liquid, and it's connected to like a fridge machine by tube.
Yeah.
And you put it on not frozen, and then they turn the machine on, and as it's on your head, it freezes. And
so what's the point of that?
The point is to freeze the follicles in your head so that the blood flow kind of is restricted to that area. So then the chemo has a harder chance to get to your scalp.
Right.
So then it
is that to help with the hair loss and all this sort of stuff?
It's meant to prevent or limit the amount of hair loss, which it definitely did when I was doing it, but I was getting bald patches.
Yeah.
And then when I tried, I think it was the third round, I tried to do the ice cap because I had the bald patches. There was nothing like separating.
It would hurt.
It fucking hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was,
and then
like, think of the most horrible migraine. I don't know do you have migraines?
Not
No.
super bad, no.
You're lucky.
Yeah, I don't get that gene, thank God.
Horrible,
that would be
migraine.
Horrible. And I remember just seeing you put it on. I think it was maybe in your third round. You had there was a clip of it in one of your videos, and you're just like, it hurts.
Yeah,
that's not cool.
Yeah,
but you had a lot of people come to different chemo sessions with you. So for those who don't know, you are a mum of 3. How old are they?
So
I always forget.
Yeah,
to me, they're like, to me, Jet is still like 7.
Yeah.
Isla's still like 4.
Yeah, it's the same for me as well.
Yeah.
No, Isla's 15.
Far out.
I know. Jet's 18.
Well,
I know. And Indy's 21, almost 22.
Jesus.
I know.
Guys, I'm only 28, and when I hear this, like, we just had our little cousin's, she's not even little, her 18th, and I'm there and I'm like doing a shot with her at her 18th birthday, and this is wild to me.
So she's the second youngest.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she's 18.
Yeah,
so
that's crazy.
I know, it's crazy.
So did they all come with you to, I know Indy did.
Yeah. Isla came to one with Lee, my husband.
Yep.
Jet didn't come to any, which was fine.
Mm-hmm.
And Lee basically came to most of them, and a couple of my girlfriends came as well.
And did you find that because your chemo sessions were quite long, they were full days?
Yes. So especially at the start, because they want to do it slowly to make sure you don't have a reaction.
Yep.
The first one, I think I was in the hospital for 9 hours.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's like a full
Because
work
I had
day.
2 chemos and 2 immunotherapies that I was on. So I
that?
wasn't just on one chemo. One thing you learn when you are going through chemo is there's all different types of cancer, including all different types of subtypes of cancer.
Yeah.
Like, so you've got breast cancer, but then there's like so many different types of breast cancer.
Yeah.
And then there's all different types of chemo and treatments that work for particular types of cancer. So yeah, some people can be on a type of chemo and still go to work every day and just be a little bit tired, feel a little bit nauseous or whatever. And then other people are on like heavier chemos where it just completely wipes them out.
Yeah. So what were some of the major side effects that you did have from?
I think the main thing was the nausea.
Yep.
It was like debilitating.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there were days as well you weren't even getting out of bed.
Yeah, there were days that I didn't get out of bed. And I was also on 4 different types of anti-nauseas.
Oh, wow.
And I still couldn't get out of bed.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That would be like, I mean, I'd get like an upset stomach from something and I'm like, unable to move. So that would be a whole other level of like piss me off. Like,
Suckiness.
yeah. I'm trying to think of the right word. I'm like, what would it be? But it would just be horrible.
Yeah, it was horrible.
Yeah. So then you also did have, you mentioned you were starting to do some balding around week chemo 3.
Yes.
Yeah. So we have, our family genes are thick hair.
Yeah.
So for the first,
as you can see now with my hair growing, it's like
growing
crazy.
back.
It's going out of control.
Yeah.
I have to like slick it down.
Like we have, so I'm one of 3 girls. You're one of 2 girls and a brother.
Yeah.
My sisters have thick hair.
Yeah.
You girls have
like
triple our
level.
thickness.
Yeah.
So I think it was up until before you went to your 3rd chemo round, everyone was like, nah, you'll be fine. You'll be fine.
I thought that too.
You were losing hair, but you still had so much left. So what was it? One of your videos that you posted was when you did shave your head and the kids all got to shave some, Lee got to shave some, you got to shave some. What was that like? I mean, I feel like our hair is such a big part of our family.
Yeah.
Like we all have great hair, and sounds so random to say like this conversation, but like what was that like? Was that a bit of a confronting moment? Did you want to avoid it?
It's funny because up until this time around that I got cancer, I was terrified of losing my hair. Like it was a horrible thought, which was one of the things that scared me about chemo as well. And then I think because I was losing my hair in clumps, I'd gotten to the point where it was so annoying because I had to like tie it up in a certain way that you couldn't see the bald patches. And then that would give me a headache because I don't wear my hair up like ever. Or I'd have to like wear a hat and same thing. Like I hardly wear things on my head just because my head's really sensitive. Like I get headaches from everything.
Yeah.
So I got to the point where I'm like, nah, that's it. It's going. So I felt really liberated.
Okay.
Yeah, it felt really good.
Yeah.
And I was really happy. Like,
yeah,
it's weird. Like I never thought I would have felt like that.
I feel like as well, seeing the gradual loss over time would have just been, I feel like, more upsetting than just like, it's your decision. It's like you were taking back that power of like, this is my decision. This is what I want to do. This chemo isn't deciding that for me anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And also it got very annoying because I'd literally like touch my hair and I'd have strands in my hand. It would get in my mouth. Yeah. Like I'd be eating and I'm like,
yeah, okay, it's there.
Like it's disgusting. Yeah. So I'm like, yeah, no, it has to go.
Yeah. And then what was it like with so the kids obviously all were a part of it. Well, what was their reaction when like mum's hair's gone?
I think they were the same. They're like, wow, like
it's suited you.
Wow, yeah.
I wouldn't look like that with the bald
You
hair.
never know. I always thought I had a massive alien head.
Okay.
Like that I had this big like bulbous head out here.
And when Mum's left us on the side for too long that our head grew out the back.
What I realised after I shaved it was all my hair.
Yeah.
That made me think that because I had such thick hair.
Yeah.
So yeah. Yeah, no, the kids they just wanted to do whatever I wanted to do. Yeah. So and I'm glad that they could be there and that they helped, and I think they were happy to do that as well. And a few of my friends were way more emotional than I ever got. Like one of my friends in particular, she says every time she watches that video, she like sobs.
I was crying. Zoe and I were crying.
See, I didn't even have that reaction, but all my friends and family, like they're like, I was sobbing.
Yeah. Yeah, Zoe and I, we didn't know we had both watched it on the same day. And then we were talking about it and we're like, I even like now thinking about it, I'm like, don't cry, Georgia. This is fucking ridiculous. But like we were crying because I'm just like, I think we both just know like what it meant for us to have like all that thing that we all had the same amount. Like we all had beautiful long brown hair that was all naturally dark brown, and it was something that connected us all. Yeah. And I think for me, just seeing that being not taken away because it was your choice, but like just the significance of that, it was like, wow, like that was a big step.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
So like we've mentioned, you've got 3 kids. What was it like going through chemo, and like you had days where you couldn't get out of bed, you were low in energy. There were days when you, like even for our grandmother's 30 days, you weren't sure if you were going to be able to attend. Like, so there was obviously a period of time where you had to, I don't know if this is a really harsh way of saying it, but retract a little bit. What was that like for you? And
I think it helps having older kids.
Yeah,
I
definitely
cannot imagine doing what I went through
when they were younger,
babies or toddlers. Like I know someone who I became friends with on Instagram who lives in Melbourne who went through it, and she has 2 young boys, and like hats off to her. Like, I don't know how she did it. And while, you know, she was a lot stronger through the chemo, she managed to, like, she was still working part-time and everything, but still, like, she definitely had her off days.
How would you explain it to a little
yeah,
kid?
exactly.
Though?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And all they want to do is cuddle mummy, and you're like, "Ugh," like,
Don't touch me. Yeah.
yeah. And she also had surgery, and like a couple of surgeries, and same thing, like she can't even pick up her kids. Like, how do you explain that without them feeling rejected or not loved or whatever?
Yeah.
So yeah, it definitely helped having older kids who completely understood, and my whole family, my husband, my kids were so amazing through the whole thing.
Even your dog.
Yeah.
He would sit with you at times, just like on the couch
no.
with you. Yeah.
Yeah. He definitely became my therapy dog.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
But yeah, they were just incredible, like so accommodating, whatever I needed. Just if I asked for something, yep, it was right there. Like, yeah, it was
That's
amazing.
so good.
Yeah.
Because I feel like as well you would panic or worry about like the negatives. Like I feel like obviously chemo is a really intense thing, and I feel like online you're just hit with all these negatives, like relationship breakdown. Like the things that
Yeah.
I've seen is like
Yeah.
relationship breakdown, kids like going crazy, like doing stupid things. I mean, like your kids aren't like that anyway to go
Yeah.
out and like rebel
Yeah.
almost, but you had the opposite. Like you had them going with you and helping you and doing all of these things and being so supportive, and I think that's a really nice thing to have happened. Like I
Yeah.
feel like it brought you guys a lot closer as a
Absolutely.
family. Like
Yeah.
even now, like you still also, you're all in the same house
Yeah.
So,
and
like-
we're all moving now. Like that's
Yeah.
part of why we're moving is
because they're all grown up now. They're all really tall
and
kids.
also my daughter's boyfriend's moving in with us. Like
It's so nice that something so scary and unknown as a family you've all grown from it.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah. I'm very lucky.
Yeah. So you had surgery.
Yes.
You had a full mastectomy.
Yes. So I had double mastectomy and reconstruction.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was
I feel like that was harder for you than
Yeah.
the chemo was.
so. It's funny. The chemo was definitely the hardest thing I've ever done physically.
yeah.
Like it was horrendous. I wouldn't wish it on anyone.
We should say as well, you did all your 6 rounds.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
the other thing.
So it was we were speaking about this, and it was they say if you get to round 4,
Yep.
they're happy with that. But if you wanted to do it, you wanted to do all 6 rounds. And
Yeah.
you did complete them.
So yeah, what they said to me was the chemo regime that they put me on was one of the hardest, and it was my oncologist's exact words was, "It's really fucked."
Yep. I mean,
So,
at least
like,
they're honest.
Yeah, he was telling the truth.
Yeah.
So they said a lot of people quit after 4 or 5 rounds because they can't deal with the side effects. So after round 3, I definitely had thoughts. Like after every round, there was a period in every round where I was sitting there crying to Lee saying, I cannot do this again. Like I can't go through it again. But after 3, I was like, yeah, I actually cannot do this again. Like it's horrible.
Yeah.
So we went and saw my oncologist, and I said, look, I really don't want to quit, but I'm struggling. Like I can't go through that again. So they actually did lower my dose by 20% for rounds 4, 5, and 6, which helped.
Yep.
But it was still horrible.
chemo,
But yeah, I didn't want to, because I'd gone through it before, I didn't want to risk not doing any full, complete thing.
And then do 3 rounds, and in 2 years, you're back having to do the 6 rounds. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I did all 6. And then what were we talking about before?
Mastectomy.
Oh yeah. So yeah, the chemo was the hardest thing physically, and then mentally the mastectomy. It was tough. I thought, because as I said before, like before I even got diagnosed, I was like, okay, if it is cancer again, I'm doing chemo, potentially radiation, and I'll get a mastectomy. Like just get rid of any risk of this ever coming back again. So I thought I was prepared, and even leading up to it in the days before, like I was nervous, but I was like, it's okay. Like I know I'm going to be okay. And then I came out of the surgery, and I think that the error I made was looking too soon, and when no one else was there, and when there was no surgeon there to discuss what I was looking at, because it was a shock. And it was really upsetting. I couldn't stop crying for about 4 hours,
Yeah.
and there was no one there because Lee was on his way. Oh, he came after like an hour. But yeah.
But the initial point he wasn't there.
No, because I'd literally just woken up from the surgery.
Yeah. And you're probably still on like anesthetics, so you weren't thinking straight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So that was, so you had got the implants in, and I remember you were telling me about it. You're just like, they're just not mine. Like you were someone who was quite happy with how your boobs were before.
Yep.
And then to have now a foreign object there and all of this sort of stuff, you weren't happy with it.
No, I was very much like, I didn't want them to look like fake boobs. So when I looked,
just walked out with like massive double D's.
We did joke about that. Like, imagine if I just, decided, I
just want porn star titties.
Look, I did want to go a little bit bigger.
Yep.
But
They're
pretty
still
much
quite natural.
I'm pretty much the same as what I was. But yeah, I think the thing that I didn't realize is, and I explained this on my Instagram page, when you have a mastectomy, they put drains into your boobs.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry if this is gross for people, but they go like all the way up the side and around your boob.
Okay.
And because I don't have much fat and stuff to disguise stuff, you could actually see the tubes. Like you could see the lump of the tubes. And I didn't realize, I thought the tubes just went up the sides and that's it.
Yeah, that's what I would have thought, like just from like the side and like where your like bra wire kind of sits.
Exactly. So when I pulled my hospital
your hospital gown.
When I pulled my hospital gown down, I just saw these like lumpy, like disfigured boobs, and it was like, I thought that was like disfigured me. Like botched. Botched surgery.
Yeah.
That's what I was left with. That's what I'll have for the rest of my life. And yeah, it was a shock. So it took a while for me to come to terms with what I'd done and just be okay with it again.
Do you feel like you're okay with it now?
Yeah, look, if I think about it too much, I miss the fact of having just my boobs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what have they said now that you got the full mastectomy? Is it 0% chance?
No, there's always, they can never guarantee it.
Okay.
So there's like a 1% chance or something.
It's significantly smaller, the fact that you did it. So there is, in my mind, so many benefits to it that have outweighed potentially keeping your natural boobs.
Yeah.
As opposed to what you've done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, you could have always just go back now and get bigger boobies.
Yeah. I could
go in like, because don't you have to go back every like couple years to like get them checked and stuff?
No, I think they just do ultrasounds just to check them, but every 15 to 20, I think you have to get them changed. So I'm planning down the track, hopefully, if I can put on a little bit of weight.
Could you picture you at like Nanda's age?
No, that's the thing.
Going and getting a reading done because you have to get them redone, and that's when you decide to get like double D's and have these massive boobs when you're a grandma.
Oh no,
that would be so funny. That's literally what I was thinking. I'm like, do I say it? I'm saying it. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
So what do you?
Not going to happen. So I'm hoping I can put on some weight.
Yeah.
And get like a tissue transfer. So from my thighs or my stomach or something. So it's more natural. And then when I'm older, I don't know, I'll probably just get them taken out and just have little flaps of skin or something.
Well, what do old lady boobs look like even?
Probably little flaps of skin.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. I mean, can't say I really saw Nanda's at all.
No.
Oh, bless her. So what was one of the biggest things during this whole experience that was a big shock to you, and what's something that you learnt about yourself?
A big shock was there were a few people that you just expect to be there and they weren't.
Yeah.
Or there was very little communication received from them.
Yeah.
So that was a bit of a shock and that was a bit upsetting.
Yeah. I feel like that's with everything though. Like when someone's going through something, or like just say this is a completely different example, but like you go away. You go away for 6 months, you go away for 12 months, you come back and it's like you didn't hear from that person. Their life continued, but it's like you would have expected certain people
Yeah.
to like be there.
Yeah.
That would have been really
Yeah.
hard.
I mean, there's some people where you're like, yeah, okay.
You get it.
We weren't that close, or we're just more acquaintances or whatever. But yeah, there's certain people that you think, I thought we were friends. And looking back on it now, I'm like, I do understand that some people find it really hard, especially if they've had their own history with it, like whether it's themselves or family. And also a lot of people don't know what to say.
Yeah.
And I guess the thing that I want to say to people like that is, even if you don't know what to say, just say something like thinking about you.
Yeah.
Or just checking in. Because while I understand like the whole subject can be quite distressing and upsetting, especially if people have gone through it, they're also the people that I was sort of like
hoping to get
like,
guidance.
You know what it's like.
Yeah.
Like, but look, I can completely like just remove myself from the situation and go, okay, I can understand why people maybe didn't get in touch. Yeah.
But then also you're like, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little
but
bit.
I feel like as well as someone like you're like obviously cousins, but like I just found it really beneficial for myself to just ask what was happening.
Yeah.
Where you were at.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that for you potentially is or potentially for people listening who have family going through it, just ask where they're up to, what's happening, what the plan is, just be aware of what's going on. I mean, I didn't know what to say in the sense of like, oh, like I sympathize with you because, or I understand because I didn't understand. I had no idea. We've never, as a family, ever had experienced something like this. And I think just asking like what the plan was and educating myself to know what was happening, I think that could be something that people potentially do for their family members.
Yeah.
And I think maybe for you that could be beneficial, or as someone going through it, beneficial to have people.
Yeah. Yeah, I made it very clear that I was very open and that nothing was off limits, like just ask me anything. So I think that's also a difference. You've got to judge where the person's at. Yeah. Are they willing to talk about it? And if they're not willing to talk about it, they're not sharing a lot of their story online or whatever, then maybe just the appropriate thing to do is just send them a message with some love hearts or send them some flowers or like just say I'm thinking about you or hope you're doing well or whatever, rather than trying to get information or just completely avoiding the situation completely.
What was something that you learnt about yourself during this time?
That I can do anything.
Yeah, literally.
I
feel like people say that after childbirth.
Yeah.
But I feel
I've done childbirth 3 times, naturally. I know.
And they're big children.
Chemo was worse because you don't get a little baby at the end.
Yeah, it's like, all right, what now? Lost my tits.
Yeah.
What now?
So I think what I got is now if anything's a bit hard or I'm like, oh, I don't really want to do that or whatever, I'm like, no. You can do it because you did that.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
It was literally the hardest thing I've ever done.
It's so wild to me that, like you mentioned earlier on in the episode, like you couldn't find anyone to relate to. Like you couldn't find people. And I thought that this would be something that so many people would want to talk about and would want to share about. But like you said, some people maybe aren't ready or willing or even able to comprehend what's happening to themselves to be able to share it. But you were doing it in real time.
Yeah. Like, I'm sure there's people around. I just couldn't find them. It was really hard. And I did find people who were very much like me, like an open book, but it was limited. So the particular things that I wanted to know, I couldn't find.
Do you feel like that it's because there's like a bit of like shame around it, or do you feel like there's a little bit of like, it's so serious we can't talk about it? What do you think potentially would be the reason that people aren't?
I think in this day and age, people are so concerned about triggering people. Yep. And I think while I understand that, you can always just turn it off. Yeah. So for me, it was like I'd rather share everything, and just
if someone doesn't want to see it,
if you don't want to see it, it's fine. Yeah. Like just turn it off. Yeah. Like I'm not going to get offended by that, but I would rather have the information there for people who need it than not. Yeah. And I think maybe people are a bit scared to share
vulnerable parts.
Yeah.
I think like you mentioned with the triggering thing, it's like everyone has a choice for what they consume.
Mm.
As a mom yourself, when your kids were growing up, starting to get phones and social media, you would have obviously curated or been on top of what they were consuming. But as they get older, you just tell them, our parents as well, always like, if you don't like something, you don't have to tell the person, but just walk away.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with online. I feel like people forget now that if you see something online that you don't like, you don't agree with, you don't want to be consuming, you don't have to leave a nasty comment. You can just either unfollow or stop looking.
Yeah.
Mute and like be done with it. And I think probably, like you said, people are so worried with triggering people or being seen as perfect because we've now moved into this society where everyone has to be perfect. But these are such real things that people are going through.
Yeah.
Like for pretty much majority of your 2024, you were dealing with something like this. So it's like, it's not like it was a perfect year in whatever that looks like to someone else, but you were still able to share it authentically, which I think then made it a perfect year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Another thing on the, I guess, social media and everything that I learned, that I learned for myself was, and I was guilty of it too, is kind of judging people without knowing anything. Like while I was on chemo, I often in crowded areas would have to wear a face mask. And before this time around on chemo, if I saw someone walking around the shops with a mask on, I was like, you're a fucking idiot. Like COVID's over. Like what are you doing wearing a mask?
It's
like,
2024. It ended like 3 years
hello,
ago.
like moving on with our lives.
Yeah.
And I felt like I was being judged.
Really? Oh, because
and this was before I lost my hair, so it was like I felt really weird, like and like people looking at me and stuff, and I'm like, oh shit, I've done this. I've judged people. I've been one of those people, and not just with masks, like with anything. You never know what a person is going through. You know, I'm a bit of a road rager, like, and chemo really put into perspective, or like the whole cancer thing put in perspective that person that you scream at on the road or honk your horn at a bit too long for could be going through a divorce, could be going through someone's just died, could be going through cancer. You never know. You do not know. So I guess in that regard, it's made me a bit of a better person, less judgmental, less crazy, angry.
We're Maltese. Come on, guys. We're a little crazy.
Very passionate.
We're very passionate. Yeah.
But yeah, it's so true. Like, and as well as online, like people post stuff, and it's a very common thing to just jump to conclusions on, you know,
why someone's
like how dare they?
Did you ever compare yourself to other people you did find and their potential like you mentioned this mum of 2 younger boys, her chemo, she was still able to work and her symptoms weren't as severe.
Yeah.
Did you ever find yourself comparing your journey?
Yeah, I did feel a bit what's the word? Like, I don't even know what the
angry?
word is. No, it wasn't angry. It was more like towards myself.
Okay, like something
disappointed.
Was wrong with you.
Yeah, like what's wrong with me? Why can't I get out of bed? Why can't I keep working? Why can't I exercise? Like I literally exercised like a couple of times in the whole 4 months.
And I think as well, even stripping it further back from exercise, there were days where for you to get out onto your balcony on your veranda,
get some
sit in
sunlight.
the sun, that was such an achievement for you. So this is why I'm asking. Obviously, I was following along the whole time, so I can ask these questions to know. But like, you were struggling to go out and sit in the sun for half an hour.
Yeah.
These women were still going to work. Like, was it just like...
Yeah, it took a bit for me to fully come to terms with that and to realise that it's not a difference between me and her. It's a difference between the treatments.
Well, that's,
And, you know, I can see that now. I don't have any upset towards myself regarding that now. But, yeah, it was hard. And, I saw, like, another friend that I made who lives in Queensland who was almost, like, the same kind of timeline to me. And I think she did the exact same treatment as me.
Okay.
She'd come home from her chemo infusions and jump on the treadmill and, like, and she'd still do workouts every day. And I'm like,
what? What do you mean?
I just felt so like inadequate and like there was
Did
something
they
wrong
say
with
that
me.
there was a reason why you were responding so severely?
No, my oncologist said it does hit women. That particular treatment hits women like more severely than
Yeah.
men for some reason. And he said he's got like a 70-year-old man on the same treatment as me, who you would think, like, comparing our fitness level and our health levels,
Yeah.
he would have struggled. And he was like,
Fine.
yeah, it's fine. No side effects, nothing.
Wow.
And meanwhile, I literally, there were a couple of treatments, I literally felt like I was dying.
Yeah.
Like there were like a 3 to 4 day period. I'm like, I'm actually dying.
Was that like something, obviously, like you would have been faced with for quite a few points throughout this whole journey? Was that ever something that, obviously, you've got your family, you've got your kids, like they're still quite young in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
Was it ever something that you were extremely worried about?
It's always a worry. I don't know if it'll ever go away. That fear of disappearing and
Yeah.
losing them. But I think because I was throwing everything at the cancer.
It had to work.
Yeah, I was just like, yeah, it's going to work.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, you have your moments.
Yeah.
But 98% of the time, I'm very positive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, even throughout all of it, there was still days of smiling, there was still days of laughing, like there was still days of crying, but it was like, it's just not who you are to be like, poor me, poor me.
Yeah.
Do you think that is also something that potentially made it work? Your mindset and your attitude towards it?
Absolutely. I think mindset and positivity has so much to do with anything in life. If you want something, you need to put it out there in the universe that that's going to be how it's going to be, and then you do the steps to make that happen.
Yeah,
like it's not just about sitting there and going, hey, I'm going to manifest blah. Like you have to do the work.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what I did. Like I'm going to beat cancer. It's not coming back. Fuck off.
Yeah.
And I did it. And so I put that there, and then I did the work.
You did every possible step to get there, to make sure that came true.
Yeah.
And it's not coming back.
Yeah, exactly.
We're not letting it back. Yeah. So for anyone potentially listening who is maybe in early stages of what you were going through or has someone close to them, what would be like some really big advice that you would give to them?
My advice personally, like, firstly, follow your intuition. So I feel like if you have the idea that something is right for you and it's going to work, then it probably is. Or if something's not right for you, get all the information and then make a decision. If I could go back to the first time I had cancer, I would do chemo.
Right.
I would do all of the medical stuff as well as all the natural and alternative stuff. I think combining the two is key. I'm kind of the opinion now that there are a lot of natural alternatives, but chemo, things like chemo and radiation and surgery do have very solid statistics and evidence that it works. So I would just say, if that's being recommended as your course of action, just confront it and do it, and you will get through it. Like, no matter how hard it is, you do get through it. I did it and it was horrible, but there's a lot of people who do it. It's not so horrible, but whether it's horrible or not, you'll get to the end and at least you know that you've thrown everything at it. I think that's the key. Like, no matter how early it is or how small it is or whatever, just throw everything you can at it and follow your doctor's advice. But if you have questions, ask the questions. Like, I had a lot more questions before I got the mastectomy that I didn't answer because I felt a little bit shut down by the surgeon. She wasn't horrible or anything, but it just got to a point where I was asking a lot of questions and she's like, look, we're just going to do what we can do when we're in the surgery, that we won't know until we're in the thing. So then I sort of felt like, well, there's no point in me asking any more questions because I don't really have a say in it. But I feel like if I had have asked those questions, then maybe my reaction after the mastectomy wouldn't have been as full on as it was.
You would have known like where the tubes are going and all that sort of stuff.
So ask all your questions and just throw everything at it that you can.
It's funny as well because it's something so serious, but you're like, your gut always knows.
Yes.
You always know what's right for you.
Exactly.
And it's like, inevitably you were questioning whether to do chemo round 1.
Yeah.
it was in your mind, you knew something was telling you like it's there, maybe potentially this is the time. But it's like at the end of the day, by the time the third time you had been diagnosed with breast cancer, you knew that, okay, like this is now the time. And it's like you always know what's right for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I think do you have anything else you would like to say?
I don't think so.
No.
Mm.
Well, I think that was a really nice episode.
Yeah.
I really loved having you. We've been wanting to do this since like
I know.
January and it's just taken us a bit of time to get there. Oh, we can talk a little bit about radiation because you've just finished that up. So what was that like? I don't actually know. Do you want to know what I picture radiation to be?
Yes.
It's going to sound so fucking dumb. And anyone listening to this is going to think I'm an absolute idiot. I picture you laying in like a solarium bed.
Ah, okay. Yeah, no.
Yeah. like I actually don't know what it is.
Yeah.
So
Okay. So, you know when you get an X-ray?
Yep.
It's pretty much the exact same as that.
So what does it actually do?
So X-rays are a type of radiation.
Yep.
It's a very low dose, I believe. So you lay in like this bed and all of these metal plates and screens and stuff come very close to you, and they basically just put radioactive beams like X-rays into a particular area. So for me, it was under my arm and across here.
Yep.
So where all my like lymph nodes and a bit
Yeah,
up
so across like
my
your neck, up your neck, across like your chest and stuff.
Yeah. So you literally don't feel anything. It gets a little bit warm when you're in there, but it doesn't feel like anything, like it doesn't hurt. It's literally like getting an X-ray. It just takes a bit longer.
So what are the outcome of doing this part?
So so in terms of like side effects?
No, like positive. Like what's the purpose of it?
From what I understand is it makes the area that's being radiated unlivable for cancer.
Okay.
And it also kills or stops cancer from growing or something.
So if there's anything potentially lingering,
yeah, like any cells or stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah. Look, there were a couple of mixed opinions from my doctors on like if I've had the mastectomy, do I need to have the radiation? And I think the only reason why I decided to do both and also my doctors were kind of leaning towards doing both was because I'd had it 3 times. If it was the first time, they would have just said, look, let's just do the mastectomy and it'll be fine, or let's just do the radiation and be fine. Oh, that's another thing. Like if you're a first timer with cancer and it's quite localized and small or whatever, you could just get away with getting a mastectomy and that's it without doing chemo.
Yeah.
So that's another avenue that, you know, maybe you can't confront doing chemo, but you can confront getting mastectomy. Like, then I would recommend doing that. Yeah.
So it's like, it's interesting that you're doing both, but it's like almost as like you push through the 6 rounds of chemo, you got the mastectomy, you got the implants. It's like this one final step is like that cherry on top. So it's like you would just do it. In my mind, it's like you've had this long path behind you that you've completed.
Yeah.
It's the one final step now. And then you have no more treatment after?
I am on an ongoing immunotherapy for the remainder of a year. So I started that with the chemo and I've carried it on through finishing the chemo, through the surgery, through the radiation, and that goes through till the end of August.
Yep.
So that's every 3 weeks.
So that's a full year.
Yes, a full year.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's the same immunotherapy that I did the first time, but this time obviously I did it in conjunction with the chemo radiation, etc. So yeah, so I've still got that to complete, but in terms of side effects and everything, that's nothing like the chemo, and it's a lot less than the radiation. So yeah.
Well, at least there's like a positive now. It's like you've kind of done the hard work now. Now it's just like the final things to just help your body heal and like recover and then get back to like a normal point.
Yeah.
Are you feeling more like yourself now?
It's starting to get better.
Yeah.
I'm sleeping a bit better. I didn't sleep very well through pretty much all of the radiation and the chemo as well. So my sleep's getting better. So I feel like I'm getting some of my energy back, which is really nice. And I've been doing workouts at home and stuff, which is really good because it's been a long time since I've been able to do that. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting my energy and strength back and some stamina, like being able to just my appetite actually wasn't affected. Even though I was nauseous the whole way through chemo, I still wanted to eat. There were things that I couldn't eat. That's one of the side effects of chemo is your taste buds get all
Change, yeah.
weird. And some of my favorite foods tasted like they were rotten.
What was
And
I remember you telling me some of the foods that you weren't eating. What were some of the foods that you weren't?
one of the most surprising ones, because I was able to eat most fruit through the
Yeah.
whole thing, and I love pineapple, and my husband cut up this pineapple. I could smell it. It was like, oh my God, it smells so good. Put it in my mouth, and I just spat it out everywhere because it was like rotten fruit.
Oh.
And then there was a time where I'm like, all I feel like is a grilled burger. So we got grilled for dinner, and I took one bite and I couldn't eat it because it just tasted disgusting.
So it was like just random things every now and then. It was probably just like a change in that moment.
Yeah.
No, we don't like this.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So that was horrible.
But at least so you said your appetite was fine.
Yeah. So the foods that I could eat, I did eat.
Mm-hmm.
And that didn't get affected, which is a common thing that it does get affected. So I was lucky in that regard.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But you're starting to feel more like yourself now, which is a positive thing. And hopefully as the year progresses, come August, you'll be back to your normal self.
Yes.
And have you guys gone away? I know a big thing that you wanted to do was you wanted to go away with the family. You guys go to, where do you go?
Hamilton Island. Yeah, we usually go every year. So we haven't been, I can't even remember when we last went.
Yeah.
It was ages ago.
It would have been 2023.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
I think. No, I don't think it was 2023. Anyway, it was ages ago. Too long. So we're contemplating that. I might go overseas. I don't know. There's a few things in the pipeline.
But you're all clear to travel, all clear to get it all going and happening and all that sort of stuff.
I can even travel now if I wanted to. It's just,
just give it a
just
bit.
get my energy back first so I
Do
can
that.
enjoy it.
At least you got something to work towards now.
Yeah.
You're you got a goal of I'm going away with the kids, with the family, or even just with Lee. Kids can stay home. They're old enough to look after themselves now.
Yeah.
But well, I feel we'll wrap that up there.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for spending the morning with me. It's not the day, it's the morning.
Yeah.
And
thanks for having me.
thank you. Hopefully someone takes away something from this. If you know someone that is potentially going through this, or you're going through this, you didn't feel so alone.
Yeah.
I'm going to have your account linked with everything so people will be able to find you and follow you.
And send me a message. If, as I said, I'm a totally an open book. Nothing's off limits. I'm happy to share everything. So if you have questions, or if you have someone, get them in touch with me that needs help. Totally fine.
We're definitely an open book kind of family, aren't
Yes,
we?
we definitely are.
Alrighty, well, thank you so much. And hopefully you guys enjoyed the podcast, and we'll see you guys next week. Bye.